From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Our top story this evening: there have been a lot of reports lately about the federal government watching its citizens without the citizens knowing about it.
In the 1970s, the Associated Press reported that international telegrams delivered by Western Union had been secretly monitored for 3 decades prior. The FBI admits it tracked groups it deemed subversive around the same time. Senator Mark Begich is sponsoring a bill that would make public some of the records that courts approved secret and NSA surveillance. Senator Lisa Murkowski says she understands the intent of the bill, but wants to find another way to address the issue. She believes it would lead to the release of heavily redacted documents.
From Alaska's perspective, we cherish our privacy. It's embedded in our Constitution. It is a right that we protect dearly in Alaska and across this country. And to know that the NSA can tap into your phones and your email at their will without really a transparent process, I think should be disturbing to most Americans, if not all.
My concern is that the public trust is eroded even more, because what they'll see are these classified documents that have been redacted, but in effect don't yield anything other than more suspicion.
A 38-year-old Fairbanks man was sentenced to serve 18 years in jail for sexually abusing his 2 children as well as a young friend. During scheduled hearings this afternoon in Fairbanks Superior Court, Daniel Weir pleaded guilty to a single count of first-degree sexual abuse of a minor, 2 other counts of second-degree child sexual abuse. Also, as part of a plea agreement struck with prosecutors, Weir must register as a sex offender for the remainder of his life. Court records say the victims in the case were between the ages of 6 and 12 when the abuse began back in 2007. Given time to speak, the mother of one of the victims said she, quote, trusted Weir. Court Judge Douglas Blankenship said the behavior could not be overlooked.
In the eyes of the community, there's probably no more horrendous crime than sexual abuse of children, and that is reflected by the legislature's harsh punishment in the applicable sentencing statute.
There were several behaviors and allegations involved in this information that he continues to dispute. There are behaviors that he has been willing to resolve and take the negotiations with respect to, but as a result of the uncertainty of what could happen at trial, he has elected to proceed and make admissions with respect to all 3 counts, despite the fact that he has concerns with respect to all of the behaviors alleged.
A 25-year-old local man tied to a serious assault in Circle has also struck a plea deal with prosecutors. 2 men were accused of beating up a 3rd man after he confronted them about spinning their tires in his front yard. The victim told Alaska State Troopers that Nolan Peterson, shown here, knocked him down, and that 22-year-old Adam Fields hit him with the butt of a shotgun. Both were charged with first-degree assault in the alleged incident. During hearings in state court this morning, Peterson pled guilty to reduced counts of felony assault in the 3rd degree and first-degree criminal trespass. Peterson will serve just over a year in jail. His attorney, Lori Bodwell, says she was satisfied with the agreement, but called the investigation into the case, quote, weak.
All these cases, the state acknowledged there's some serious evidentiary issues in the burglary case, as well as some serious issues with the lack of investigation by the police. And in the other case, from our standpoint, it was a viable self-defense or defense of others as well, along with the victim's own propensity for violence that would have made it a tribal case. So all in all, it's a fair resolution.
University of Alaska Regents have rejected, at least for now, an alternative energy proposal that would have constructed an array of solar panels on the hill below the statewide administration building here in Fairbanks. Regents voted 5-3 in favor of the proposal last week, but it needed 6 votes to pass. 3 regents were missing. The $4.1 million project proposed by Simons Industry Incorporated was projected to generate 5% of the UA Fairbanks power needs. Regent Kirk Wickersham voted no. He says he had concerns about the appearance of the panels and the potential for glare. He also says he wanted to see a power cost agreement before another vote.
All right, well, when we come back, a riverboat ride Sunday is a fundraising event.
Oh, fun.
Fun.
Also, 'tis the season, our backyard barbecue is back. Those stories are next. Stay with us. And welcome back. Organizers for the annual Camp Nishii are primed to host their 11th annual outing beginning this next Monday. However, things have been soggy leading up to camp. The campsite, located in the Yukon Flats region, experienced a late spring, much like the rest of the interior. Spring flooding also took its toll on the area, and much of the location was under 1.5 feet of water as late as last week. Camp crews have readied the location and are prepared for the arrival of high school-age campers. Camp Nishii caters to youth living in the rural areas of the interior. Athabascan culture, survival, and subsistence skills are taught at the camp, which is a faith-based excursion. What started out as suicide prevention outreach has grown to much more in its 11-year history.
When you have remote villages and remote communities, often there can be that vacuum effect where a young person just doesn't get the relationship or the resource that they need. And so they're just great kids, a great environment. These people are just tough and very resourceful. They've lived in this area for a long time. And they've just opened up their arms to us, receiving the help. They appreciate the help.
A boat ride on the Chena River is a good way to raise money for a group trying to feed the hungry in Fairbanks. News Center 11's Monty Bowen has the details.
The Stone Soup Cafe Riverboat Discovery Excursion is set for Sunday. The boarding starts at 6:30 with sailing scheduled for 7. A large part of the operating money the cafe gets comes from the Riverboat fundraiser.
The Riverboat Discovery, it's one of our biggest fundraisers of the year. And it is, the Binkleys have donated the riverboat. It'll take us up the river a little bit and then all the way down to the Tanana and then back up.
The Stone Soup Cafe has been operating for about 28 years and just recently moved to a new location on Gaffney Road. Its mission is to feed the hungry and enrich lives.
We serve people who are hungry Monday through Friday without question, with respect and with dignity.
There was an unexpected pickup in business recently.
With the evacuees from Galena in, our numbers are up, and they often go up in the summer as people from surrounding villages come into Fairbanks to look for work and may take a few days or a few weeks until they find a job. But there's a steady call year-round. I think the lowest number I've ever seen that we've served for breakfast is 55, and the highest is close to 100.
Most of those helping feed the hungry at the Stone Soup Cafe are volunteers.
We talk about our new building and we talk about our 28 years, and what's behind that all the time is people. We have one part-time staff, everything else is volunteer, and it makes a difference. We feed the hungry of Fairbanks and interior Alaska.
For information about the cafe and tickets for the Riverboat excursion, you can go to our website, webcenter11.com. Monty Bowen, News Center 11.
Well, summer is in full swing, which means many Fairbanksans have brought out their grills and they're ready to cook. Tonight, we start our backyard barbecue series to help you get your grill on.
Good afternoon. I'm Dan Gilson, the owner of the Charcoal Supply Company and a pit master of the Three Dogs Barbecue Competition cooking team. People ask me, is meat the only thing that you can cook on a grill? Meat, fish, vegetables, and the like. Not always. Today, we're going to do a cobbler. Call this Joe's Cobbler because I got the recipe from my buddy Joe over at Z Smoke Shack Barbecue. It's a real simple recipe. I've got a dough here that's made from a cup of flour, all-purpose flour, stick of butter, half cup of sugar, and just a pinch of cinnamon. Anyways, we take that dough and we just break it up onto the top of our apple pie filling. You can use apricots or peaches or any kind of pie filling that you want, or if you want to, you can use the stuff that comes in a can. Just make sure that you pour off some of that juice if you're using the regular fruit that comes in a can. Anyway, you just break this dough up on top of it, and if you want, you can put a little bit of cinnamon on there just for a little extra flavoring. And then once that's done, all you have to do is set up your grill for that offset kind of cooking like I showed you a couple of years ago. Real simple. You've got a aluminum pan in the center with charcoal on either side, and then that way you can cook it about 375, 400 degrees, 45 minutes to an hour, or however long it takes for it to get nice and brown on top. And there you have a cobbler made in the grill. This has been the Backyard Barbecue Series, and I'm Dan Gilson.
And we'll laugh and be happy at the Backyard Barbecue.
Brought to you by the Charcoal Supply Company.
Charcoal, cafe.
Yeah, sports.
Joe.
Joe, what's going on in sports?
Well, no, I want some of that cobbler.
That cobbler, yeah, it looked fantastic.
But yeah, one of our teams for Fairbanks, they're going to Honolulu this week for a big regional soccer tournament. Maybe some apple cobbler or something else down there.
Barbecue?
Yeah,
cafe.
You're going to meet some of the team after the break. And we'll also talk about some golf. A lot of golf going on in the interior for those people who want to get out on the links this summer. Have that and more coming up. Hello, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here in a sports seat for you this Thursday evening for your Channel 11 Sports. So let's get started. We kick off tonight highlighting some young promising soccer talent. The boys under 13 Phoenix 01 squad will be traveling to Honolulu, Hawaii this week for the 2013 U.S. Youth Soccer Far West Regional Championships for the first time. The Phoenix 01 team is coming off a championship performance in the Alaska Airlines Cup tournament in Anchorage in early June. Now the Young Guns will face some great competition in Hawaii. Their first game is against Sparta 01, a team out of Utah who won their first state cup championship. Head coach Alan McGinty, who has 15 years of coaching experience and is in his third year with the team. He's also Hutchinson's girls soccer coach. But Phoenix 01 is excited about going to Hawaii and could make some noise and even get on the national stage. They have a good idea of when they're at their best.
Well, we're all communicating and we really play as a team and pass the ball and have possession.
I think we have 4 really good backs. I think we have 2 really strong center backs, Nathan and Michael, and then our outside backs, Ethan and Gabe, are doing really well. So we have a pretty strong back.
I think that if they play at the potential I know they can play at, that we can potentially win some games, score some goals, and maybe advance to the quarterfinals.
And going to baseball now, the Gold Panthers' 4-game unbeaten streak to begin the summer season ended last night against an Anchorage team. The Anchorage Bucks were all over the Panthers with a 9-1 victory, highlighted by 5 runs in the second inning. The Bucks had the offense with 11 hits that included a number of triples and doubles. The Gold Panthers got 7 hits with Rick Reiner, the lone Panther, with 2 hits. Fairbanks has played 5 road games in 6 days to start the season. They have 2 more road games left. The Gold Panthers are now 3-1-1 and are 1-1 in the Alaska Baseball League. They play another ABL game this evening against the Mat-Su Miners. The Gold Panthers' first home game of the year will be this Sunday, the 16th, against the Fairbanks Brewers, who are a Fairbanks Amateur Adult Men's Baseball League squad. And today was the start of the PGA major event, the U.S. Open. For all of us here in Fairbanks, we have a few courses like the Fairbanks Golf Club, the North Star Golf Club, and the Chena Bend Golf Course, where you can do your best Rory McIlroy or Tiger Woods impression, or just try to better your own golf game. One thing you'll have to do, like the pros, is putt. The short game. NBC's Dan Hicks has a piece about a key component and the science of putting all of that in to the putting greens.
In professional golf, a player's short game is crucial, especially putting, which requires concentration, control, and a skill known as reading the green.
When I'm looking at a putt, I'm trying to see the contours of the green.
Golf course superintendents use a device called the stent meter to control the speed of the green, a measurement of how much the ball slows down as it rolls across the putting surface.
The stent meter is a ramp for rolling golf balls onto a turf at a fixed speed so that we can tell how much friction or rolling resistance a golf green has.
The stent meter is designed to release a ball from a notch when raised to the height of 21 degrees.
At 21 degrees, we can tell how much gravity is going to accelerate the ball down the ramp so that it's always going the same speed.
To calculate the speed of a green, 3 golf balls are rolled in one direction from the stent meter along a 14-foot level area. The average distance of the 3 balls is calculated, and then the 3 balls are rolled again in the opposite direction across the same line where the average distance is taken again. The average distances of both rolls determine the overall speed of the green.
You can look at a green and think it may be fast, but sometimes greens are slower than they look.
By using the stent meter, golf courses can regulate the speed of their putting greens and give players a consistent way to approach one of the most challenging parts of the game.
I could probably get a hole in one on a good day. But that's going to do it for sports tonight. And a final note, this weekend, the Midnight Sun swim team will host the Midnight Sun Invite Swim Meet at Hammy Pool. The meet starts tomorrow at 6 p.m. and on Saturday and Sunday, the meets will be at 9 a.m. That'll do it for sports tonight. Thanks for rocking with me for a little while. Your full weather forecast is coming up next, and we'll catch you next time.
You know, segueing into weather, Mike is playing in that golf tournament, so he had a practice round today, and then he gets started in competition tomorrow.
Okay,
so, yeah,
cool.
Yeah, he's actually real good, Joe. I mean,
really?
if you ever have a chance to watch him play.
All right, yeah.
And he knows it.
Try my hand.
Very good. So that's why Mike's not here. I'm going to go ahead and take the weather reins for today, so let's go ahead and take a look at your almanac. Okay, here we go. Wow, look at there. Now we got it. Our normal high is 71, normal low 49. Record high was set in 1994, 91 degrees. Freezing for our record low set in 1922. Sunrise, sunset equals 21 hours, 38 minutes. That is a gain of 3 minutes over yesterday. Let's take a look and see what we can see in our next graphic. As you can see around the state, beautiful in the interior, a little cooler on the panhandle, and Anchorage did have temps in the 70s earlier this week. Now they cooled off just a bit, but look, those 70s reappear on the western part of Alaska, all up and down, very nice. Even Nome experiencing 71 degrees. Look at that, 65 for Barrow. That's pretty interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look down lower 48 and see what we can see. There we go, we're sliding. Temperatures 70s all across the upper northern states into Chicago, and really nice. Oh, and we had a little fuzz there, but now we're back on track. Really scorching in Las Vegas and Phoenix. Dallas in the 90s, and so too in the coastal states there, Gulf Coast states, and where I want to be right now, Miami, 89 degrees. That sounds perfect. What does that all mean? Well, let's take a look. Well, with our forecast for Alaska, very good. In northern parts of our state, partly cloudy in Barrow, sunny for Nome and Fort Yukon. Temps in the 70s for Nome, Fort Yukon. Barrow cooling off a little bit to 52. Let's take a look at interior, and we'll get more detail later, but highs again expected in the lower to mid 70s for us and Healy. And taking a look down at the panhandle for right now, you can see that temperatures will actually climb back up toward the weekend. Temperatures in the 60s for both Juneau and Ketchikan. Showers though, so if you're traveling in that part of the state, beware. On the western side of things, chance for rain for Cold Bay, mostly sunny in Bethel. Bethel seeing some nice temps in the 70s as well. And also that storm system will be affecting Kodiak as well. And finally, let's take a real quick look in the south central. As you can see, showers across the entire region. As they cool off even further, Homer seeing highs only in the 50s. But good fishing down there. And speaking of that, we're going to go ahead and take a look right now at our fishing report. Valdez, no fish yet, but from what I hear, halibut catches are pretty good, so that's nice. On the Kenai River, some kings are slowly entering the river, but the fishing from all reports is not great yet. And in the Matanuska Valley, well, yeah, there is fish. Kings allowed Friday through Monday, and I was told only off the highway system. So there you go if you're traveling down there to fish. Only off the highway system. Rivers and lakes right now, Golcano remains high. The Chena River also, it dropped a little, but it's still high out there if you've been in and around the area. And on the Tanana River, it's still quite high from the late spring. Okay, we want to thank Jeans and the Boat Shop for providing our fishing report and conditions. Thanks, guys. Our forecast for the remainder of the night, overnight low of 50, really nice evening and continued clear conditions. Taking a look at tomorrow, look at that, 80 degrees, great day, sunny. Oh, and it just gets better. For the weekend, take a look. 86 by Saturday, 90 by Sunday. We'll dip down a little bit Monday and Tuesday, but we're talking in the 80s still. And then cooler temperatures coming in by midweek next week. But it's always easy to do the weather when you have conditions like that. That's
90 degrees.
90, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think about that, JoJo?
Again, I never thought I'd see the day. It'd be 90 degrees here.
Well, yeah, and it's actually too hot to actually play, golf in that conditions. At least I think so.
I don't know. Mike told me that when he gets back, he will have quite the tan.
Yes, you will.
Yeah, as long as there's no humidity, I'll take
Oh,
this.
sure. It's the dry heat.
Yeah, where I'm from, oh God.
Very good. All right, that will wrap up this edition of the Fbx Evening News. As always, we are glad you could join us.
Tonight on NBC Nightly News, the latest on a huge wildfire that has destroyed hundreds of homes in Colorado. That's next with Brian Williams.
If you see news or have an idea for a story, you can call our newsroom at 458-1830.
Okay, from all of us here at the News Center, have a great night.